Our series begins with our heroine, Yasmin, who tells us her story about how much she suffers because of her lousy high school score that she got, which made her enter a college she doesn't like. But she still studied and worked hard, dear viewer, so that she could graduate and work. She took courses and worked on herself, and the day came when she applied to a big company. She thought that with the courses she had taken and her degree, she would have a chance. But when she went to the company's manager, she was very excited, only for his secretary to tell him that Yasmin's project had a mistake, so he refused to hire her and kicked her out. And because her dignity is the most important thing to her, she told him that she didn't want to work with them anyway and that they'd regret it one day. As she was leaving, barely able to stand herself, she suddenly found in front of her Dan, the one who was supposed to be her boyfriend, but they broke up. He came with flowers telling her he wanted to get back with her. She told him, "Didn't I already tell you, son, if I ever see you in front of me, I'll smash your face into the asphalt. What do you want from me? Because of being with you, I didn't study in high school, and that's why I got a bad score and can't find a job. My family at home refuses to spend money on me, and you wasted your life too, playing video games non-stop. You wasted my life and youth with you. Get lost out of my face." After she humiliates him in front of people, he promises that he'll work, make money, propose to her, marry her, and give her the sweetest life. She says to him, "What life, son? I'm 28 now, and this talk doesn't feed anyone anymore." She runs away quickly from him. By coincidence, she hears the secretary Hao talking to his daughter, telling her that he sabotaged Yasmin's project so that she could take the job. When she looks, she sees who this girl is and is shocked that it turns out to be her close friend, Jumana. She gets very upset and thinks that manager Hao was the one who did this, and his secretary helped him, so that she would lose. So she decides to go confront him and take revenge. When she sees him going into the elevator, she goes in after him and argues with him, telling him that she didn't know they were such a bad company, dirty people from the inside, to the point that they would sabotage her project for someone else. He tells her, "I don't understand why you're saying this or what even happened." She says, "Play dumb. Go ahead. I'm sure you had a hand in this, so you're with Jumana too, and she paid you a lot of money like she usually does." He says, "By God, I don't understand anything, really. I just wish you'd leave me alone." He presses the elevator button to go down, and the two of them start arguing. Suddenly, the elevator malfunctions, stops, and drops down. They don't understand what's happening or how to act. She closes her eyes and opens them to find herself back in time 10 years earlier, sitting in class among her classmates, not understanding anything. She thinks it's all just a dream. Not only that, she finds herself taking a math exam and she doesn't remember anything. She stands up in shock when she sees who's sitting next to her, Dan. She drops him like that, and when he tries to talk to her, her whole life with him flashes in her mind. She remembers all the memories between them and decides to run away from this silly dream she's in. She leaves the exam and runs out of school. At that moment, she drops a strange paper, which Dan quickly picks up. When he looks, he finds a message written saying that she'll wait for him on the bridge, asking him to come to her. But when he goes, he expects her to confess her love, but she pinches him to make sure this is a dream or not. He says, "So you're experimenting on me?" She tells him, "Yes, unfortunately it turns out this isn't a dream." This means she really went back in time. She starts thinking how she'll deal with things now. The first thing she does is tell him that message isn't hers, and she'd rather he not come near her again or talk to her because she doesn't love him. She leaves him and goes away. She goes to a lottery shop and buys a ticket, but she tries to remember the winning ticket number. She has no idea at all. She's forgotten everything. She looks at the clock and is shocked that this day is the same day her father signs the factory contract, and that factory will be the reason for their bankruptcy later, after he loses all his money. She rushes to tear up the contract, but when she arrives, she's shocked that her father has already signed. She regrets it and feels she won't be able to change the past or their failed future. She thinks of another idea to help him. She waits until he leaves and at night tries to hide the contract. Then she sees her brother sneaking out. She remembers how in the future his life was destroyed. He wasted everything just playing video games and never caring about studying. She decides to fix her brother's life as well. She doesn't let him go out and forces him to study with her. But unfortunately, he tricks her and sneaks out while she's asleep. She doesn't care and says, "Fine then, I'll change my own future alone." She keeps studying. Before her father leaves, he tells her that her private tutor is coming today. A little later, there's a knock on the door. When she opens it, she's shocked to find Hao in front of her. She says, "So you're after me no matter where I go?" She talks to him badly, asking, "What are you doing here? Where's the teacher who was supposed to tutor me?" He tells her that Mr. Lin Qiu had a problem and sent him today instead to tutor her. In other words, your teacher couldn't come, so I came instead. But she doesn't like him at all and makes excuses. She asks, "And who are you supposed to be to tutor me?" He says that he's an engineer now in the best college, the capital college. But she ignores him, kicks him out of the house, and says she'll never study with him. The next day she goes to school. Her friend Jumana comes asking if she studied or not. She remembers how Jumana in the future never kept loyalty and was the reason for ruining her life. So she talks to her harshly, telling her that from now on she doesn't want them to be friends. Then she meets the first girl she sees and says, "You're now my close friend." The girl asks, "Who? Me? What's your name anyway, or what's mine?" She replies, "Doesn't matter, we'll get to know each other later. Anyway, I'm Yasmin." The girl tells her, "I'm Tuda, from now on we'll be friends." All this in front of Jumana, who feels jealous. Jumana takes Tuda and Yasmin to go check their grades. Yasmin is shocked to find that she got second to last place, and the last place is Tuda. Looks like the two of them will always be sitting next to each other because of their lousy grades. She realizes she won't get rid of her, so she asks Tuda for help. Tuda tells her that she doesn't do anything before exams except pray and put up a picture of the teacher she wants to be like in the future. Yasmin says, "Okay, show me who this teacher is." She gives her the picture, and Yasmin is shocked to see it's Hao. She says, "No thanks, you keep him. I'll find another way to succeed." She starts hearing from her classmates that Hao was the smartest one, always ranked first in school. Now she realizes she needs him to tutor her. She finds out he works at a cafe. She goes there, apologizes, and begs him to help her again with lessons. But he refuses, telling her, "You kicked me out once. Do you think I'm just some mop for you to wipe the floor with whenever you want? You had your chance and wasted it. I don't want to see your face again. Now get out, even though you're not kicked out." But Yasmin doesn't give up. She sits there sticking to him until he leaves the cafe. She follows him, begging him to help her study again. She tells him she has a dream of getting into the capital college like him, and begs him to stand by her this time. She promises to talk nicely and respect him. But he refuses and tells her, respect is mandatory, not optional. He rides his bike and leaves. She tries to follow but can't, so she decides to give up this time. Meanwhile, Jumana lies to her mother, saying she's at her private lesson, but actually goes out with her sly friend Suma to a cafe where they play video games. By coincidence, Yasmin's brother, whom we now know is named Ming, sees her. It's obvious he likes her, but when he tries to talk, she rejects him. He offers to give her a ride, but she refuses, telling him not to tell Yasmin or either of their mothers. He promises to keep the secret, but in return asks for her phone number. She agrees, but only if he brings her Yasmin's Arabic book. He agrees. When he goes home and takes the book, Yasmin gets angry because she knows he never studies anyway. She wonders why he wants to steal it, not knowing it's part of Jumana's plan because she doesn't want Yasmin to study and wants her to fail tomorrow's exam. But Yasmin, being clever, manages to take the book back from her brother. He tells her honestly that Jumana wanted it. Now Yasmin realizes that Jumana is trying to destroy her life. We shift to Jumana, the sly fox. When she goes home, her mother asks why she stayed out late. She lies and says she was studying. Her mother asks about her grades. She tells her she ranked second, while Yasmin was second to last. Her mother is very happy. While they're talking, Yasmin's mother enters, who actually works as a maid for Jumana's mother. Jumana's mother closes the subject and pretends to scold Jumana harshly, pretending she's worried about jealousy and envy. She keeps saying in front of Yasmin's mother that Jumana is a failure and doesn't study either. Dear viewer, like mother, like daughter. Her mother tells her to do anything to make sure Yasmin stays a failure. And because Jumana takes after her mother, knowing that Yasmin loves romance novels, she goes and buys all the novels available in the market, puts them on a CD, and tells her to watch them and read them. After all, there is still time before final exams, 3 or 4 months. Jumana thinks that Yasmin is still the silly one from before who will believe her and take the CD and sit reading novels. But Yasmin tells her, keep it for yourself. It might help you in a crisis. Darling, I stopped reading, and not only that, I even downloaded the books on my mobile and started studying from them. Jumana is shocked and realizes Yasmin actually intends to study seriously. She fears her mother will find out because she always compares her to Yasmin. She starts thinking of another way to distract her. Meanwhile, our heroine goes home and finds out that her father saw the paper where she signed that she doesn't want him to continue with the factory. He gets angry and asks her why she did that. She is afraid to tell him that the factory will go bankrupt because she is sure nobody in the family will believe her. But God covers for her. Suddenly on TV, they announce that the candy factory her father was working in has gone bankrupt and is finished. Her father is shocked, not knowing whether to be happy that she saved him or sad because the factory he worked at is closing. But at least he didn't resign and will get compensation like the others. In this way, Yasmin succeeds in solving the first problem that was the cause of their ruined life and the debts that came afterward. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Yasmin sees Hao coming out of a room. She asks him what he's doing here. He refuses to tell her anything, so she follows him and says she won't leave him until she knows. He takes her to the room to show her who's inside. She finds that it's Teacher Q, who was supposed to teach her, and Hao came instead. But Teacher Q was sick, and that's why he couldn't come to her. We learn that because of what happened, Hao ended up working in the cafe and giving private lessons, putting engineering college aside for his friend, so that when his friend recovers, his life will be stable and he can continue. Yasmin is moved, but she decides to use this point. She tells Hao, "Surely when Q recovers and finds out you stopped giving me lessons, he will be upset with you. You'll have no choice but to tutor me again, and that will take energy, and he hasn't even woken from the coma yet." He is annoyed at her words and tells her he will think about it, but asks her to stay away from him and not come close until he decides, and to stop chasing him. She promises not to bother him again. When she goes to school, she sees Suma, the sly one, bullying a poor girl. She decides to defend her, but Tuta stops her and tells her Suma has a gang and they will bully her too and maybe beat them both up. Yasmin says, "Shame on you, can't you talk? Let's go." But once they arrive, she sees the bullies are stronger. She pulls out a paper and says, "Why didn't you tell me there are many of them? Look, there's only one solution in this situation. Run, my friend." But silly Tuta, instead of grabbing her bag and running with her, leaves her with the bullies. But Yasmin manages to defend herself. She grabs a garbage bag and threatens them that if anyone comes close, she will throw it on them. They all get scared. One of them films her while she threatens the girls, but Yasmin doesn't care. When she finds the review book with the girl she saved, she asks to borrow it to study. The girl agrees to thank her. Yasmin takes it and goes to Hao and tells him, "I know I told you I won't bother you, but I really intend to study and I won't tire you. Proof, I bought all the review books in the market to study from." Hao asks her to wait until he finishes work. If she can endure until then, he will tutor her. He does this thinking she is careless and will get bored, but he finds her sitting and waiting until the end, determined to study no matter what. So he realizes she is serious and really intends to study, and he decides to give her a chance. Unfortunately, the cafe closes with both of them inside. Hao has to call someone to come rescue them. He is told it will take 2 hours to arrive. At the same time, Ming notices his sister hasn't come back. He's afraid someone at home will find out and scold her, so he hides in her bed, pretending to be her, and sends her messages, because their mother keeps checking the room. If she finds out she's not there, she will punish her harshly. Yasmin tells him, "Handle it. Don't let anyone know I'm staying outside tonight, or else I won't give you anything or cover for you again. And you know what I mean. I won't give you my friends' numbers." He says, "By God, no, no, shame on your mother." He acts as if she never left. At that time, his sister arrives and opens the door for them. When Yasmin learns she is his sister, she begs her, "Convince your brother Hao to tutor me." Hao agrees and tells her from now on he will tutor her, but he will inform her of the schedule later. She says, "Doesn't matter. The important thing is you agreed." She is very happy she finally reached her goal, that he will tutor her. She runs home happily. His sister asks him, "Who is this girl who wanted us to convince you to tutor her? What was she doing inside? And why was the place locked with you?" He says, "What's wrong with you? Calm down. She's just a high school student who wants me to tutor her. That's all." When Yasmin goes back home, she discovers only a few hours are left before school. She dresses quickly to go, but arrives last in line. The teacher announces that she is now the head of the last class of the school, the class with all the failing students. He asks her, as the head, to say a word. She replies, "So now I'm the head of the failures, huh? Okay, thanks for the title. Anyway, I'll say this in front of you all. I will rise into the top 10 of the school and get into the best college in the country, the Capital College. Just wait for me, Capital College. I'm coming for you. All the last class students mock her and laugh, but the rest clap and encourage her. She becomes very happy and more motivated. Jumana, the sly one, burns with jealousy inside. But our heroine doesn't care, goes to class, studies, and waits for the teacher to arrive. Dan is shocked and wonders what made her suddenly flip overnight, studying, not caring about him, games, or nonsense. He tries to distract her, joke, or play with her, but she doesn't give him a chance. He wonders what changed her. The teacher feels this too and tells all the students, "Since you're failures, your parents must know. Each of you will bring your parents tomorrow." Yasmin fears her family will find out she's failing. She sees no solution but to bring someone to pretend to be her relative. That person is Hao. She begs him to act as her uncle or anything. He says, "Are you crazy? My prestige doesn't allow that." She tells him, "But my family won't stand it. They'll get heart attacks. Please, my future depends on this." He says he'll think about it. Meanwhile, Dan's father, knowing his son is a failure, tells him, "Son, I'm coming with you tomorrow." His father turns out to be a very rich and connected businessman in investment. He gives out his business cards to all the parents. Yasmin sees him and is shocked but very happy. Because in the present, when she was with Dan, his father was the only one who stood by her, supported her, and was always on her side, always scolding his son for her and never sparing anything for her. Until that cursed day when he invested in a cheap film, lost everything, and went bankrupt. That's why she decides to repay him now, help him, and save his future. She waits, wondering whether Hao will call her family or not. But Hao arrives at the last moment, decides to help her, and pretends to be her uncle. She tells him, "Finally, I was sure you'd come." He says, "Sure of what?" "Everything has a price, darling." He enters the parents' meeting. When Tuta sees him, she is shocked because he is her crush, her love, the person she studies to be like. She is very happy to see him. She asks Yasmin how she knows him. Yasmin says, "I'll tell you everything later. The important thing is don't act like you know him. For now, he's my uncle." Tuta replies, "Shame on you, your secret is safe with me. I won't tell anyone." Then, Jumana's mother arrives at the school, acting nice in front of all the parents. She tells them, "If you need anything, let me know. I'm at your service." She donates a lot of money to the school so Jumana can show off, so the teachers will like her, help her, and give her grades for the year so she stays in the top 10. She treats her daughter kindly in front of everyone. But once the parents leave, she returns to her true self and bullies her daughter, telling her, "I know you lied. You came fourth, not second. As a result, if you don't come first in the next exams, you know what I'll do. The money I pay for you, I won't give it again. That means you won't have a future, and your life will be ruined." Jumana's happiness is shattered. Ming notices she is upset and decides to walk with her, tries to make her laugh, and get her out of the bad mood she was in. Meanwhile, when Yasmin returns home, she finds her family thinking about investing in the stock market. She tries to remember which stock will rise in the future, but unfortunately her mind can't recall anything. She goes and tells Hao about it. He says directly, "Any number ending with 36 will be high in the future." She says, "By God, I won't doubt you. I trust you." She decides to invest in it. Coincidentally, she sees Dan's father buying books for his son. She sits with him, talks about investment. He is impressed with her thinking, realizes she is smart, and tells her that if she studies this subject, she'll have a future. He admires her more. When she goes to school, the teacher shows her the video of her holding the garbage bag and threatening her classmates. She tries to defend herself, saying she was protecting someone from bullying, but it's a misunderstanding. But Sly Suma brings her mother to defend them, and they make trouble at school. Suma's mother says, "Look at that poor girl being bullied." But Yasmin doesn't stay silent and says, "Your daughter is the one at fault." Suma's mother says, "At fault? Look at what you did to me. Marks of beating on my hands." Yasmin replies, "What beating marks? Stop acting." She wipes her mother's hands, revealing it's just makeup. She is exposed as a liar in front of the teacher. The teacher decides to forgive Yasmin and not punish her, and to investigate why that sly one is lying. After that, Yasmin goes out and plays with her friends. Jumana takes the opportunity, grabs a ball, and pretends Yasmin threw it at her. She runs to the teacher saying, "See what Yasmin did to me, teacher." But Dan was right there and saw she didn't do anything. He defends her. The teacher calls his father to come and deal with his son. Yasmin thanks Dan for defending her even though it got him in trouble. He tells her, "By the way, I didn't do anything except defend the love of my life." She replies, "Didn't I already tell you to stay away from me? What makes you think you can come near me again?" Our heroine starts explaining she is innocent, that she threw the ball upward while looking the other way, so how scientifically and theoretically could it land on Jumana and hurt her? With ease and logic, she convinces the teacher. By coincidence, Hao is there. When he sees her explanation, he realizes she is truly smart and becomes more impressed with her. He decides to pay more attention to her. Jumana feels embarrassed by how she was exposed as a liar, and the teacher doesn't give her another chance. He lets Yasmin go home. But Jumana makes a cheap move and calls her mother and explains to her that the teacher needs her, and when her mother goes to the school, the matter is already over, and Jumana acts innocent and keeps crying and telling her that she didn't mean to make a problem for Yasmina, and that she didn't know and thought it was her who threw it, because when she turned around, she found her looking at her, and she keeps acting pitiful and making a scene. But our heroine understands her and knows what's inside her, so she lets her escape satisfied and goes to Hao so he can tutor her. And when he sees her, she looks upset, so he decides to get her out of the gloomy mood, and that's the first step he must take so she can study with a clear mind. He takes her to a nice place. She says her mother told her not to go with a stranger she doesn't know to any place, but he takes her to the capital's university, and since he's a student there, he shows his student ID easily and goes in and is able to bring her in too. And when she sees it, she is shocked and happy and wishes that one day she will be able to study in that university. And he also encourages her and tells her he is sure the day will come when she will study there because she is excellent. She tries to improve herself, and they also talk together and get closer. They start becoming friends. She promises him that she will not waste his effort in vain and will study and do her part. And he tells her that he also will help her and will never leave her needing anything. And he gives her a simple test on the things they studied yesterday, and she answers, and he is very happy with her and knows she really has a future. But in those romantic moments, suddenly the security guard arrives and catches them, so Hao takes her quickly, and they run away from the place. At that time, she starts coming out of the sad mood and feels happy and thanks him for helping her. But when she gets ready to go back to school, she finds out from her classmates that Jumana's mother made a problem, and because of that, she, Yasmina, got suspended for 3 days because of the problem she made lately. And everyone thinks she will no longer attend classes or study, but she attends from outside and tries to study, and Dan helps her and opens the window for her so she can hear the teacher, but she asks him to close it and not talk to her so he won't be punished or kicked out of class. And she tells him she can hear well from here, and she starts writing notes after the teacher. And even though the weather is really bad and it's hot outside, still inside it's nice. And she bears it and pushes herself. Hao sees her and feels sorry for her, and since he knows the teacher and is his friend, he begs him to forgive her and let her return again. And they also find out that Yasmina really changed a lot and started to love studying. And that's supposed to be an honorable example for the school. And when the teacher sees her, he is convinced and decides to forgive her and let her return again to classes. She becomes very happy and thanks him. And as soon as she finishes, she goes straight to the cafe and starts studying there with Hao. And there he asks her about her dream. She tells him she wants first to be among the top 100. He asks, what does top 100 mean? She tells him it means the top students where there are no equals. He mocks her because she's basically second to last place, like she's around 500. She tells him no sorry, I'm 499. He tells her so it's just one difference, miss. She says, yes, it's one difference. A big bully. I wish I rise above your kids or children. He asks what? She tells him your kids, your kids. He tells her shut up, let's study. And he makes her summaries and also records lectures for her, and she keeps listening to them all the time while exercising or eating and doesn't waste any time at all, 24 hours studying. And there are only a few months left for the final exam, and her family sees how much she is working hard and studying and staying up nights, and they are proud of her. Even at New Year's Eve, instead of celebrating with her family, she keeps studying, and they invite Hao and make a small celebration, and as soon as they finish, they go back to studying again. And days pass, and every day she studies more than the day before, until even Tota notices and gives her some food and tells her she stopped eating any unhealthy food, that she is focusing on diet and exercise and study, her life 100%. And suddenly, she gets a call from Hao and finds out that Chu woke up. She becomes very happy and goes to the hospital to see her tutor, and after she makes sure he is fine and okay and finally safe, she goes back again to class and studies. And Dan sees her and keeps wondering since when did she change like this? And when he tries to confess that he likes her and wants to be with her, she rejects him and tells him that right now she is not focused on anything except studying. As for Hao, he visits Chu every day and stays with him, but Chu feels that he has started to trouble him in this past period. Besides, Hao also stopped studying for college and spent all his time working in Chu's jobs. So he calls our heroine and asks her to help him convince Hao to go back to studying because engineering college is very difficult and he won't be able to catch up with everything. She tells him immediately she will think of a way to convince him. So Yasmina goes to the cafe where he works and tells him she wants to talk with him a little. And when he asks, she tells him, "When will you go back to your college?" He says he's not free now, he has a lot of work. She tells him Chu has recovered, and he too should return to his life so he won't regret the college he entered, because engineering college is known that whoever enters doesn't come out alive. He tells her enough optimism. "I'll think about it." She also tells him honestly the teacher says he wants you tomorrow for something. And when he goes to the school, he asks him to give a speech to the students since he was one of the top achievers of the school and also entered the best engineering college in all of China. He becomes happy, and all the girls admire him and want to take a picture with him. Yasmina feels jealous and tells them he is not free now. He has a lot of work. Even Jumana can't believe it and buys him many things and tells him she wants to take lessons with him, but he refuses and tells her he is not free and that Yasmina is enough for him. The stupid girl, Jumana, gets upset and feels jealous and boils inside, and our heroine becomes happy and takes Hao and leaves, which makes Jumana burn with anger even more. And what makes her explode is that unfortunately, Yasmina got rank 99, meaning literally from 499 she removed 400 and only 99 remained. Just 9 more and she will be in the top 10. Our heroine goes and tells her family the good news, that she is now rank 99 and will soon be in the top 10. She also goes to Hao to make him happy, and he feels that his effort did not go in vain. He decides to tell their friend Chu, but when he goes to the hospital, he finds out that Chu left and returned to work, the same job that hurt him before, in car races, which was the reason he went into a coma. Hao becomes very angry with Chu and tells him he should look for another job. Chu promises him he will take care of himself this time, and also take precautions. In return, Hao will return to his engineering college, and Yasmina finally convinces him, and he resigns from the cafe and goes back to his home to sleep. And we discover that he also went back in time, and this time he decided to save Chu because he knows in the future he will die because of the races. But unfortunately, as soon as he closes his eyes, he finds himself back in the future. Yes, dear viewer, don't be surprised, he found himself back again in the future, and that means Chu is in danger. That's why he decides he won't waste this chance, and immediately tries in every way to cancel the race so that nothing happens to Chu. But unfortunately, he arrives too late. Chu rides the car he was supposed to try for the race, and when he tries with him, it doesn't work. He can't stop him, and that's because Chu himself is no longer able to control the car. So he knows there is no escape from what will happen in the future and that Chu will have an accident and really die. But he doesn't stand still. He tries in every way to stop the car, and unfortunately the car crashes into the wall and makes the accident. And he enters the hospital and witnesses everything happening. And when the doctor calls him and they know they couldn't save him, something unexpected happens. The doctors come out and say he passed the danger stage and he succeeded in saving him. He becomes very happy, doesn't believe himself, happy he could change the past. And after he completes his mission, he returns immediately to the past again to help Yasmina enter engineering college. It seems our guy can return and go back to the past freely, right? At the same time, Yasmina takes a vacation before the final exams and decides to make a small party, and invites all her friends, including Hao, and also invites Jumana even though she's a snake, but she still makes us pity her. They go up to the roof and make lunch together and keep barbecuing. At that time, Dan notices how close our heroine and Hao are and feels jealous, and tries in every way to attract Yasmina's attention, and even sings her a special song. Everyone listens to the song and enjoys it except Yasmina, who doesn't hear it and keeps sitting with Hao the whole time. Dan gets upset and decides to ruin the happy moment. He sprays water on them and turns the whole scene into a fight, and they all play with water and enjoy their time. After dinner, they have a really nice holiday. And when they finish, Yasmina learns from Dan that his father will continue with the cheap movie that in the future will fail and make him lose all his wealth. She takes him aside and tells him, "By the way, convince your father that this movie will fail and he will lose all his money." He is surprised by her words, but trusts her. Dan really goes to talk with his father, but his father refuses and tells him he feels this actress is famous and her movie will bring big profits. But Dan tells him this actress is not famous at all and you are gambling with all your money. He asks him, "Where did you get this thinking from?" Dan tells him Yasmina said it. And of course, since his father admires Yasmina, he agrees to think about it. But when he calculates it, he says, still, this girl is young, she can't understand. I am the big smart one. And he still decides to sign for the cheap movie. So he orders Uber, and when it arrives, it turns out, by coincidence, it's Yasmina's father, and he takes him in the car, and because of that, he keeps circling him right and left to delay him from the flight time. At that moment, he feels it's a sign, and that it's no longer possible to participate in this movie, and that Yasmina's words are true, and he decides to drop it. At the same time, Yasmina attends her brother Meng's basketball match and starts cheering him. A player gets injured and they ask someone from the substitutes to enter, and Dan is present but refuses to go in because he decided to leave basketball and study. But Yasmina remembers back when Dan kept blaming himself for not participating in the match on that day, and that there was a talent scout, and if he had participated and been discovered, he would now be playing in the top basketball club and his future would be better. So Yasmina forces him to enter and participate in the match. And really, when he enters, he shines, starts taking the kids right and left, scoring points from far, from near, from every direction, and they win. After the beautiful match, Jumana the pig decides to take revenge on Yasmina again. She decides to frame her, puts cigarettes in her bag, and makes Soma, the sly one, go tell the teacher. But by coincidence, Hao says to him, you'll find her smoking somewhere here or there, so he understands that Jumana wants to trap Yasmina in the mistake. So before Yasmina goes to meet the teacher and he searches her bag, he searches it himself and tells her, your bag has something. And when they search, they find the cigarette pack, so she quickly throws it away. But the teacher finds it and smells a strange smell, and it turns out it's the same smell as Jumana's. So he knows that Jumana is the one who smokes. And he was about to tell her mother, but Hao interferes and asks the teacher not to tell Jumana's mother because he knows her mother is crazy and could do anything to her daughter, and he tells him he will talk to her nicely. The teacher decides indeed not to tell Jumana's mother and instead punishes her by suspending her from school for a week. And our heroine thanks Hao because otherwise she would have been in a big problem and no one would have believed her. But still, when Jumana goes home, she finds her mother waiting for her and asking where she was today since it was a school holiday. She tells her she was just walking a little, but her mother tells her, you're a liar. I know you went and attended the match I warned you about. You have to study, girl, and be among the top 10 and score higher than Yasmin. You know if she gets higher than you, what I'll do to you. She tells her, don't worry, mother, I'll study all the time and get high grades, thinking that her mother will forgive her. But still she keeps looking at her with hatred and speaks to her rudely, and because of her attitude, she cries. When Yasmin returns home, she finds an investor who asks her family to invest in buying houses. Since the share they had invested in was bringing them good money, she takes the chance and tells them that this street in the future will bring rent for the apartment by itself, because its price will be in the billions, and the rent will be in the millions, and that this is the right place to invest. Her father tells her, my daughter, are you stupid? This street is full of old apartments. Who would want to live in a street like that? She tells him, just listen to me. Tomorrow you'll know their value very well. The rent price will be very high. You won't lose anything, just buy them. Their price is cheap. So her father says, all right, let's follow the fool all the way home. And he decides to invest in that street and buy some old apartments. At the same time, Dan is sitting studying in peace, when suddenly he hears that someone urgently wants him. When he goes, he finds the coach giving him his card and telling him that he happened to see him watching the basketball game and found him talented, and that if he studies and even gets 300 marks, then he will. Dan is shocked and can't believe it. He goes to Yasmin and tells her, your blessings, old lady. How did you know that this match would really change my life? Without you, I would have no future now, and I would have been a failure. She's happy that she was able to save his future and let him do what he loves while also studying and having a future. He just needs to study and get 300 marks because he's a failure, and the highest he ever got was 100, which is a challenge for him to start studying and get any grades. Meanwhile, Yasmin's mother goes to Jumana's mother, asking to borrow some money so she can buy the house she plans to invest in. She tells her, of course, we're family after all. How much do you want? From £1 to 500. She asks, 500 what exactly? She tells her, 500 pounds. So our heroine's mother says, I don't know how I'll get it for you, but I need it. She pretends to be crazy and tells her, 50,000? From where? I don't have the amount you're asking for. You're surely a woman who doesn't have a Visa card to transfer it, and you don't have a bank account because you're poor to send it to you. She keeps humiliating and insulting her, and Yasmin's mother feels helpless and ashamed, until suddenly Ming enters and says that unfortunately his father sold one of the shares they had bought. But the share brought them a lot of money, and now they'll be able to buy all the houses they want and become rich. He angers Jomana's mother, takes his mother, and leaves, and she's very happy because finally her husband did something right in his life. And maybe she can even quit working at Jomana's lizard-like mother's house. Back to our heroine, who gets her final exam results. The teacher starts calling names, and the first one he says is Yasmin. They find out she ranked 10th, and everyone is happy for her and claps for her because she's the first one in the last class, but the 10th in the whole school, which is still a source of pride for us. Meanwhile, in the first class, the teacher calls the students to hand out their grades, and Jomana finds out she got first place and is happy until she learns that our heroine got 10th place and is higher than her. She is shocked and has a nervous breakdown, not knowing what to say to her mother. She sits not able to stand herself, just eating herself up. Meanwhile, our heroine has all the students gathering around her, asking how she did it, calling her clever, asking for her blessings at school. Everyone wants to know how she jumped from rank 400 or 99 to 10th place all at once. Meanwhile, Joma, while leaving, not standing herself, Ming comes after her, telling her, "I know you got 11th place," and starts encouraging her and clapping for her, but she doesn't care. Suddenly, her mother calls, of course belittling and discouraging her, but Ming cheers her up and tells her he's very proud of her. Because of his words, she's happy a bit, and thanks him, because he's the only one who truly believes in her. Our heroine then goes to Hao to tell him and make him happy too, and she tells him she got very high grades, hoping she might enter Capital University. He's very happy for her, that their efforts didn't go to waste, and he tells her she's very talented, one of the best students he's worked with, and that now their dream is just one step away. She applies to the university and waits for the result, nervous. Meanwhile, Dan tries in every way to contact her to take her out on a date, but she ignores him. He doesn't give up and keeps pursuing her until finally she answers. He tells her he too will apply to Capital University and will be with her. She tells him, "What do you want now anyway?" and hangs up on him. She sits in front of the laptop, nervous and afraid she won't get accepted, when suddenly the laptop has a virus. When she opens the message, she finds someone telling her he's waiting for her on the roof. When she goes up, she finds Hao waiting. He tells her the virus is nothing, just to calm down, he just wanted to see her. She tells him, "You scared me." He says, "Scared you? I came to congratulate you for entering Capital University," she tells him, "but I'm not sure yet." He says, "I feel you'll be accepted." At that moment, her mother comes, and she's afraid she'll see her with Hao and suspect something, so she quickly hides him. Ming notices and tells his mother jokingly, "See what you did, you left the rice on the stove, the fish flew away, and the chicken drowned." But deep inside, Ming suspects something between his sister and Hao. She tells him, "Shame on you, son, to suspect me. I'm your sister, your beloved. There's nothing between us." But when she returns home, she thinks about it, and so does he, remembering when he held her hand, feeling strange, that he likes her, but denies it, saying feelings are fleeting and will go away, because he just spent time with her all this while. Still, he tells her he wants to take her out on a date, and takes her to the factory where he currently works. They sit talking about the university. Afterward, she finds out her brother Ming went drinking. She asks Hao to take her, but her brother keeps drinking until he faints. Hao doesn't know what to do and asks her to help him since he can't manage alone. She says, "Okay, we'll take him home." Then Ming feels stomach pain and tells Hao, "Did you get anything from life? Take this," and pushes his sister, and she almost falls, but Hao catches her at the last moment. When they get close, she feels a strange feeling too, but they see Ming about to fall off the bridge, so they rush to catch him. Afterward, they go home, and Hao stays the night so her family doesn't find out Ming drank to avoid problems. In the morning, Ming leaves the house. Their father learns Ming went out drinking at night, and what makes things worse is when he sees Ming's exam results. 110 out of 600. He has no future, and no university will accept him. He gets angry and decides to throw away all his gaming equipment so he won't play anymore, but his mother tries to stop him. Ming arrives, sees what's happening, and gets angry because his father is throwing away what he collected for years. His father calls him a failure, but Ming says he loves video games, that it's his future, and that he'll work as a YouTuber and earn a lot of money. Yasmin supports him because she knows YouTubers really have a future and status, and life will be good. She asks viewers for likes and subscriptions, so Ming will have a future. She also asks her father to stop fighting with her brother all the time and tells him Ming is now a man and responsible for his decisions. Ming is upset and decides to leave the house, but Yasmin tells him she loves him and will support him in any decision, and that in the future, their father will recognize his worth. So he decides to stay at home, but remains upset and unable to deal with his family. Later, Jomana's mother invites our heroine's family to their house. Ming is happy because he'll see Jomana, and he goes with them, but Jomana's mother keeps showing off and tells them her husband has an important meeting and can't leave, so they won't see him, belittling them because they aren't important. But our heroine doesn't stay silent and tells her, "Now, sweetheart, I want to tell you that we've become rich, and soon we'll have money, and my mother won't work for you anymore, so find someone else. Not just that, I'll enter Capital University, unlike Jomana." Jomana's mother didn't know her daughter didn't score enough for Capital University, so she gets furious and takes Jomana aside, shaking her because she couldn't get the grades, while our heroine did. For the first time, Ming defends Jomana in front of her mother, showing off because she belittled her daughter, upsetting her. He takes Jomana aside and tells her he's proud of her and her grades. Later they go back home, and their father apologizes to Ming, saying he'll believe in his abilities and let him do what he loves, especially now that they've become rich because the apartments they invested in turned out to be in an area that will be rebuilt, so their prices will soar. That way their father secured their future. And they'll soon live as rich people with owned apartments, and their lives will improve. We go to Tota, who calls Yasmin and tells her, "Hey, something strange is happening on our street. 2 people are fighting. I'm scared they're thieves who want to rob our house." Yasmin goes immediately to see what's happening, afraid they're thieves trying to rob Tota since her family is traveling and she's alone. When she goes to check, she's shocked to find Hao in front of her, telling her it's his house. When she asks about the noise, he says it's just his family messing around. His family comes to greet her and learns she's Hao's student. They act in front of her like they love each other, speaking nicely, even though Hao never talks to them, because when he was young, they didn't treat him kindly, always traveling, having many problems, each suspecting the other. But when they saw Yasmin, they suddenly acted like a cooperative, loving family, even joking, and they show her pictures of him when he was young. She's so happy, takes a photo with her phone to tease him later. On the way to take her home, he suddenly takes out his phone and snaps a photo of their shadow. When she asks what he's photographing, he lies, saying the flash just went off by itself. She doesn't focus on it much, thinking it's nothing, but dear viewer, it's not nothing. She asks him to smile since his birthday is coming and she wants a picture, but he refuses, so she tickles him, catches him off guard, and the photo comes out very nice. When she gets home, she sends it to him, and he's happy seeing the photo, and our friend Chu sees Hao happy like that and gets surprised. He asks him, "What's in your life? Is there a beautiful girl or what?" At that time, Hao says, "Who, me? I'm depressed, man, not upset." Q tells him, "Yeah, right, a little depressed, but not upset. It's clear, clear. Anyway, I'm happy that you opened your heart to someone." At the same time, Yasmin sends Hao a message telling him that they're going camping. She asks him to join them, but he refuses, saying he has an important conference at the university. She tells him, "As you like," but she learns that Meng invited Dano and Jumana and she herself invited Tota, so they all go out together and camp in a nice place. At that same time, Hao goes to the university and meets businessmen there. They give him their cards to stay in touch. But when he sees pictures of the camping place with all the lights, he likes it and decides to go there. He enjoys his time there a little. Meanwhile, Dan is trying to think of a way to make Yasmin fall for him. He plans to pour water on the ground so that when she trips, he can catch her. But Hao arrives, and he stumbles in her place, and the romantic moment gets ruined. After they finish joking around, Yasmin goes to the forest because she wants to wash her face. There she meets Jumana the chameleon, who asks her about directions, but lies and gives her the wrong way. Because of this, Yasmin gets lost in the forest, and it starts raining heavily on her. Meanwhile, Dan notices she's very late and worries about her. When Jumana returns and he asks her, she lies and says she didn't see her. But Hao isn't convinced and tells them he will go look for her. They all volunteer to help, each searching in a different place. Hao says he'll search the forest. At the same time, Yasmin loses hope that anyone will find her because of the heavy storm. Her voice also becomes hoarse and she can't talk. Her leg is injured and she can't move. She asks herself if she came back in time to save herself or if this is her end. But at least she managed to change her family's future and her brother's too. That makes her happy, not caring what happens next. What matters is this time she didn't lose anything good. But suddenly, Hao appears in front of her. As soon as he sees her, he reassures her, takes off his jacket, and puts it on her. When he notices her leg is injured, he carries her and takes her away. He calls Meng, who tells him they are waiting at the hotel. Hao takes her there to let her rest. At the hotel, as soon as Yasmin sees Jumana, she gives her strange looks. Meng notices and pulls Jumana aside, asking if she knew his sister was in the forest. Jumana gets nervous and doesn't answer. Meanwhile, when Tota notices Hao's clothes are dirty, she tells him to go change in her room and gives him snacks to eat. As for Jumana, she keeps crying and tells Meng she doesn't want to continue with him but is forced to. He doesn't understand why she's forced, until suddenly her mother calls. When she answers, he overhears her mother insulting and humiliating her, saying Yasmin was always better than her. Now, Meng understands why Jumana hates Yasmin so much, that her mother is the reason behind everything. If not for her mother, Yasmin and Jumana would have been best friends, since they're actually relatives, almost like cousins. Meng feels sorry for her and can't hate her, realizing she's a victim. Meanwhile, Tota brings instant noodles to Yasmin. While they're eating happily, Yasmin suddenly gets a call from her family telling her she received an acceptance email into the Capital University. She's so happy and can't believe it. She decides to go share the joy with Tota. She enters her room, calls her, but there's no answer. Then she hears a sound from the bathroom and thinks Tota is inside. She waits outside, telling her she got accepted into Capital University and that she wanted her to be the first to know, and that she also plans to tell Hao and thank him, because if it weren't for him, she wouldn't have entered that university. She adds, "Anyway, I want to tell you something. Every time I get close to him, my heart beats." But it turns out the one in the bathroom is Hao, and he realizes that Yasmin loves him just like he loves her. Suddenly, when Yasmin knocks on the door, Hao has to open it before she does, to avoid being seen in that situation. She understands he was the one inside the whole time, feels very embarrassed, and runs to Tota, telling her she was talking about Hao, and found out she was actually talking to him. Tota tells her, "It's not a problem, dear. Sooner or later, he'll know you love him." After that, Yasmin starts preparing to return to the city. She arrives at Capital University and learns that their first day will be training, and that she'll live in dorms with 4 other girls. She meets them, and they turn out to be sweet girls. They all decide to be friends. And here's the surprise, dear viewer, so don't be shocked. Dan also got accepted into Capital University, and he'll be with Yasmin. Now he has a chance to win her over. The video ends here. If you enjoyed the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel.